Hello, welcome to the first ever Grand Theft Auto video in what's hoped to be the first of many in the series for the Console Network team. My name's Brian.
And my name's Gary from Grand Theft Auto PS4 fans on Twitter, and today we are giving you our impressions on Grand Theft Auto 5 for the PlayStation 4.
Yes, Grand Theft Auto 5 released last year for PS3 and Xbox 360, and it has now been released for the PS4 and Xbox One on the 18th of November this year. We're going to be talking about the PS4 version of the game. What are your thoughts on the game, Gary?
Well, I think the game's absolutely incredible. I had it on PlayStation 3, but for the PlayStation 4 it's even better. Graphically it's fantastic. The gameplay, which for me is the most important part, is still extremely fun. It feels fresh and new with the first person mode. And online, although it's not 100% perfect yet, it is still brilliant, and I think Rockstar have got some amazing plans due. But what do you think, Brian?
Yeah, for a game that was never lacking in the visual department, they've somehow made it 10 times better. As you can see on screen now, we're early morning in the game. It looks tremendous. They've added a full HD around the board on the game, and the new textures that they've added certainly make the whole world look that much detailed. With the inclusion, like you say, of first person mode, the world feels a lot bigger because you're down to eye level of your character. If you're walking downtown, you know, everything looks a lot bigger. But that's not just the extent of the content, it's the new vehicles, new weapons, and obviously first person mode. Let's talk about the new vehicles first. So I'm looking at your character model on screen now, and you're by one of the new vehicles.
I am. To my right, sorry, is my black and green Dukes. Obviously I've done the matte black with the green as a secondary. I've also added the new neons which come on the Grand Theft Auto, on the PlayStation 4 version, which can be done in different colours and different layouts. And with the Dukes you can also add a flag to the roof, which I think is pretty cool. You can do a multitude of countries. Obviously gone for the St George's Cross here to represent England. There's also a new horn, which I'll just play quickly, which, you know, it's quite fun. It's nice to have new features like that. And also in first person mode, the interiors again are new. Each car's got a different interior, and on certain vehicles your secondary colour is actually the colour stitching, but on this car it doesn't actually have that option, but on certain vehicles like the supercars it does. As Brian can show you now, the interiors of the car are all slightly different, and yep, this is my Dukes. So over to you, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to show you another new car. It's if you're a lifelong fan of the series, you'll know this is the Blister Compact. I've gone with the metallic blue with the secondary black metallic. If I just get in here, I can show you the interior. That obviously will look completely different. It's a tuner car as the Dukes is a muscle car. The sort of metal effect steering wheel and the sort of 90s looking dials. Everything just looks really retro in this car, but it looks really nice. As Gary said, this new option to add the neons, you can't see them now unfortunately, as it is getting into the middle of the day on the game. The new neons can be added all around the car, or you can literally add them to the sides or the front, or, you know, vice versa, any kind of which way you want, which is a nice feature. And now we're looking at this, you know, beast of a plane. What is this plane?
This here is the Dodo seaplane, which I think is from Grand Theft Auto 4 as well, possibly been in other Grand Theft Autos. But yeah, it's the Mammoth Dodo it's called, and it just can land on any water source and take off from any water source, and also has the ability to land on land, which is pretty cool. So pretty much you can land this thing anywhere. And again, like we were saying about the interiors, all the planes as well have new interiors. You've got the latitude and longitudinal gauges, the compass, your airspeed, pretty much everything you'd get in a normal plane. And yeah, it's really nice. It's good detail. Like I said, it's an older style plane, but it still looks really nice.
Yeah, it's And obviously the dials aren't just there cosmetically; they do actually work. Let's not forget to mention the Rockstar have made each dial work. So if you get an error, there's a fire on board, you'll get a warning beep. Which was there on the last gen versions of the game, but with the added detail of the interior, you can see all that happening. The monster truck on the end here, you might be confused. It's not the Liberator from the Independence Day DLC. This is actually the Marshal, which it's similar. It's a basic sort of monster truck. You can pick the flags on the back just like the Dukes. This one's got an actual flag on the back and got the Union Jack. Other cars to mention, there's the Stallion muscle car as well, which was a big one in GTA 4. And I don't think that's. I don't think there's any other vehicles that I can think of. No.
Not off the top of my head, I can remember. No. I know there was a few added, but they were ones originally in there. It's just now you can purchase them, I suppose.
Yes, I think also we need to mention that any of the DLC cars in single player do spawn in the traffic now, so you will see any DLC vehicles spawn in the traffic as you're going along with either of the three characters. Obviously they can't be robbed as normal, but you also will see upgraded cars. So you'll see you'll see a Cheetah with a big spoiler on the back with chrome paintwork. It just adds to the level of detail in the world. So we'll talk about these cars are for returning players only. So if you've had a 360 version of the game or PS3, you'll only get these cars. And obviously the cross transfer for the GTA Online characters works from 360 to PS4, so that's a really great feature. But let's go on to more new content. The Hatchet Axe, which Gary's showing you right now.
Yep. This here is amazing. It's deadly and it's quite brutal when you use it. But if Bryan presses square and brings it up close to his face, you can see the level of detail that Rockstar have put in. The handle, the wood looks so realistic, and it looks worn down from where your hand's been on it, where the red, white and blue is actually faded. The axe head itself, it's got different shades and shadows effects on it, and the dimples where it's you can see it's been formed by hand. And again, there's a wood stake in the top of the handle, which is what's used to split the wood and spread it to stop the axe head from coming off. And if Bryan hits me now, you can just see how brutal it is, and the effect that the actual blood will be on the head of the axe and occasionally on the handle, depending on how you've been hit.
So you will see the blood marks on the axe have gone everywhere, including with the wood handle all the way down. But if you just look on Gary, I've literally given him a gash wound in his upper chest, and it hasn't just sort of give him a wound. It's you can see that the colour of his black shirt has changed to obviously simulate the blood staining into the material, which is great. And let's just mention the tattoos as well on the characters. They're even more detailed, so you can actually make out what's on their arm now instead of a blurry mess. The only other new weapon for returning players was the railgun. Unfortunately, we would have loved to show but it's only in single player. The railgun, it gives us it's an experimental future military gun. If you fire it just blitzes anything in front of it. It gives you like a really sort of weird humming sound, and then it'll just go quiet and then blast anything. It has got obviously a range on it, but it's really great if you ever get a chance to use it. So the first person mode, what are your actual thoughts on first person mode, Gary?
I think it's brilliant. I don't use it all the time, but when I do, it's amazing, and it's so fluid with how it works. For a company like Rockstar that don't generally make first-person games, they've done absolutely amazing. Because obviously they've had to add a lot of new animations. I think they said something like 3,000 animations were added, and that's I think just for the weapons. So they put a lot of effort and detail into this, and all the stuff they've done, you can see, especially in, like you say, with the first person, the detail that you can notice is incredible. The transition as well from first to third is fluid, especially with the PlayStation 4 DualShock controller, which is literally just pressing the touchpad and you go fluidly straight from first to third, then extended third, and then back in, and it's that fluid. It's amazing. And as well as when you're in third, if you look behind you by pressing your R3 button, it literally just spins your head, and then you can spin straight back around again. And it's natural, it's fluid, and it looks really good, like as if you were doing it in in real life, and it does the same in cars as well. So yeah, it's really good. What do you think of it?
I mean, again, you can only empathise on how much Rockstar don't make first-person games. It's a real testament in how they can just go off for a year and come back. Who knows how long they've been making the game, but it looks amazing. As you say, the detail in the guns, I'm just showing off now in this sort of micro SMG weapon. You can go into iron sights by pressing R3 down and back out again. It'll just give you a basic look at the weapon with the a dot sight. But you can pick out the markings of serial numbers. If you just see now scratches on the metal, and obviously you can actually sort of still see the red dot sight of the scope here. I think it just adds, as I say at the start of the video, the world looks bigger, feels bigger, and as you say, the fluence. I mean, I'm showing it now how fluid it is to just come out of each camera view, and I was worried that the graphics may sort of take a beating because of the first-person mode, maybe make everything look a little more less detailed. But in fact, it actually looks a lot better. And now, I would imagine they did this for first person. They had to make everything look extra detailed, textures in full HD, because they were put in a first person mode. You can go right up to a wall and see the wall up in your face. I love it. It makes each mission different. Makes going around the world, gunfighting, driving. I think planes, I'll use it more for first person. Cars, I'd stick in third person. But you can set your own settings up. You can make sure that you only see first person on foot, and then third person in a car. I've also recently known that apparently if you get into an aircraft, that's another independent mode. It'll go back to remembering your camera mode for your aircraft as well, which is great. Let's talk about a bit of the graphics, because we're in a situation where it's just started raining, and this is one of the big enhancements that Rockstar boasted about before the game's release: the rain.
Yeah, well, like you can see now, the puddle effect is immense with the splashing of the water. You're getting the ripples and everything. It's the detail and the level of detail is absolutely incredible. You can actually see the drops, see them hitting, and it actually changes, because obviously when we hit this now it was completely dry, whereas now around our vehicles pretty much got a small lake.
Yeah.
And it's just looks absolutely amazing. You get the reflections of everything on it. Like you can see the lights now if you come over towards the pier. You see the reflections of the lights into the water. And it's just like you say, this level of detail that they've gone to is incredible.
I think when I particularly find there's more areas at night, and that there's the lights of everything around you hitting the puddles. I distinctly remember walking through Blaine County as Franklin, and it started to thunder, and the rain was coming down, and it was pitch black, and obviously the lighting sources out there are not as frequent as downtown, say, or here on the pier. It's just it looks amazing. I think when it's raining and it's night, it shows you how much the game looks different. Or even racing downtown on a bike, and you can see the sunlight hitting each metallic source. It's just, they spend some time definitely in the graphics department. The lightning in the game is probably the best part for me. That it just adds something I can't describe, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we're not seeing any thunder. It's just sort of a really overcast day, and you can see the waves have gone bigger as well, which is kind of cool. And there's no one out there. Everyone's sort of, all the pedestrians sort of look like they want to get out. They don't seem to be carrying umbrellas though, like I remember in GTA 4.
No, that would be a cool feature, but
Yeah.
no, I've not noticed that yet.
No.
Maybe it's something Rockstar could add.
Online side of the game, which we're showing now, and we can't, as a team, show single player, unfortunately. But GTA 5 on PS3 and 360, there was sort of a graphical downgrade there. You could see it. There isn't much, as in fact they've tightened it up. It looks pretty much similar to the single player side of the game.
Yeah, I don't really notice the difference, like you say, going from single player now to online. But one of the main differences that you will notice is the size of the lobbies. You now get 30 players instead of the standard 16. There's also an option, I believe, for 2 spectators. So there's 32 people could be pretty much watching the same action that's going on, which is a nice feature. Character creator as well. You can now personalise your character a lot more. You can change the facial structure, the bone structure, the colour of their eyes using contact lenses, and also if I take off my hat I can show you that even change the colour of your hair, and that can be done on your facial hair and your eyebrows and your beards as well, so you could make some pretty cool and funky looking characters, which is nice. And like I say, the eyes are all different. You've got red ones, blue ones, monsters, lizards, so you can make a lot of different alterations, which is good.
Yeah, I do like the character creator on this. It reminds me of more of an in-depth thing like you get on sort of the wrestling games or the soccer games, the football games. Where you can just change the nose size, eyes, everything. You were mentioning hats, and I quickly want to mention just the nice little detail that Rockstar put in. If you do equip, this works in single player or online. If I put glasses on and they've got a particular colour tint to them, I'll just see if I can get I think that's got like an orange one on it. See, I'm in first person now. It's got an orange sort of overlay to the screen now, so it looks like I'm wearing sunglasses. So if I just take them off, it'll just go back to normal. And that's a really nice detail. It does actually work when you're wearing sort of ski masks, bike helmets with sort of hardly any vision around your eyes, and you will see it on the screen. The player lobbies, unfortunately, I haven't been in a 30-person lobby. I believe you've been in somewhere close. 27, did you mention?
Yeah, I had 27 the other day. It's the most I've had, but it doesn't feel like a lot, if that makes sense, because the world's so big. 27's still absolutely fine. It handles it pretty well. Pardon me. I think in time, once more people start playing it, and once Rockstar cut down the number of lobbies and start getting people to be in bigger lobbies together, you'll start finding a lot more 30-player lobbies. But I personally tend to stick in invite-onlys when I'm doing crew events anyway. And we've had, I think, 20 people in a lobby, and it's nice. You've got enough room. You get a big meet of people in the middle, and you can get some crazy chasing going on. And especially for like the death matches and races, getting a 20-30-player race in contact, going up through the hills on windy roads is absolutely insane. But in the same respect, it's amazing as well that they've, it's fluid enough that it can handle that, and it works nicely as well.
I think until obviously the little niggles are sorted out, people will start doing first person lobbies only, and the 30 of them on bikes. That'll just, it'll be sort of like Destruction Derby if you did like a stock car sort of thing. It's going to be amazing, but obviously it's still not even a month old yet, so let's give it time. And we still haven't seen heist yet, which if rumour has it we could be getting very soon. Shall we take to the skies and just show everyone the city and Blaine County?
Yeah, let's go.
And I've actually robbed your dodo. I'm sorry about that, mate.
That's fine, mate. But yeah, like you were saying about the first-person racing and death matches, it's amazing. Obviously, I play Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Yep.
Doing first-person death matches on here feels completely different, but also feels completely natural, because you've got the ability to use a quick throw of grenade. So when you're aiming and shooting, pressing L1 quickly throws a grenade, which is a nice feature that they've added.
Yeah,
and it works fluidly and works really well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've started using that really recently, and it's just a really sort of nice addition. Just if you've got a load of police or a load of enemies coming up against you, and you've got a gun, you can just literally swipe that. It's sort of very fluid, the action of just swiping that touchpad up as well, which is really great. Yeah. So we're heading over the city towards Blaine County in the Alamo Sea area. It's just stopped rain. Well, it's still raining, sort of, and it's great the way that the weather's really dynamic. Obviously, it does have to be in an open world game, but it's still drizzle there, and obviously if it does get lighter and the sun comes out, those puddles will dry up. Obviously, it won't take a full day. Let's mention that it won't take a full day, and they still be there, but it's still a great feature. As you can see, the light bouncing off the skyscrapers because the sunlight is just coming through there.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning the draw distances have been increased dramatically and noticeably as well. Like, obviously you can see it's misty now, but that is due to the weather rather than due to the draw distances being limited. For example, from the top of Mount Chiliad you can see down to the city, and you can make out the buildings now. And from where we are now, you can see like all around you pretty much. You can see most of the map. You can see down to the airport, depending on what view you're in, depending on how cloudy it is. But when you get clear skies and bright sun, you can see pretty much the whole world. Once you're in the middle of the map, you can see all around you, and it's very clear.
Yeah, it's I have been up on the top of Mount Chiliad, and it has sort of shown you how much the draw. I mean, the draw distance was never bad. You could see the skyscrapers from the top of Mount Chiliad, which is just in shot now. But now on a clear day, you will see all the way up until the airport, and that is the furthest bit of the map. That's where the land mass ends and the ocean begins, so you can see that. But obviously, because the weather is so good, you just don't really know when you're going to get a clear day and where you're going to be on that particular moment. We're going over the Alamo Sea in just a second, and obviously you can see the reflection in the mountain. It's a reflection of the mountain in the lake.
Yeah, it's worth also saying about at night time the reflection of the moon.
Yep.
On light sources is absolutely incredible. Hopefully, it's coming up to 6 o'clock in game now, so we might get the moon out, be able to show you this. But the way the light casts a shadow, or not shadow, a light source on the lake is amazing, because you get the ripples of the water, and the light beam moves with the moon, which actually now moves quite a nice fluid style across the map, and creates some amazing shadows and light. Which, like I say, hopefully we'll be able to show you in a minute properly, but that's another feature that I think is absolutely incredible, is the way they've got the detail of the lighting is a lot more detailed now than it was on the PlayStation 3 and 360.
Yeah, I mean, officially the upgraded screen space has got an ambient occlusion system, if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. And it renders dynamic shadows that cast through weather effects like fog, particle effects, and reflections of bodies or neon reflection cars at night. It all sounds great. I mean, I'm okay with me technical terms, but unfortunately I don't make games, so it all sounds gobbledygook to me, but it sounds really great when you see it in the game. If you just check that out now, where the sun's lighting across, it's giving that sort of reflection over the top of the wings of the dodo. And we're getting that.
It's all these little features make the game even better, because you don't notice them, and if they weren't there you wouldn't miss them, but when you do see them you just think, wow, the effort that they've put in is amazing. Let's go for landing on the water. Because also you'll be able to see when you get close to the water, you actually get the spray up behind you from the blades, the front, or the propellers, sorry, at the front. So you create a water spray behind you now. Oh, look at that nice smooth landing there. I say this plane is absolutely awesome, the fact you can land it pretty much anywhere. Yeah, look at that spray from those waves crashing on the water there.
That's a reminiscence of the first trailer. If you ever see the E3 trailer of the game itself, you'll know that the first scene is the waves crashing up, and it's great when a company just it doesn't take away from trailers. We won't mention companies that do that, but they're very, very known for bringing us really great trailers, and then seeing the game, it's a lot different. But the only thing that I will say is different is we still don't get those swaying trees, which might be a glitch, because I know that there's things in game that do sway. If you know the comparison video that was released near release of the game, you'll see the trees swaying in the wind. Everything else does, material on clothes and flags, but the trees don't. But I mean, that's minor to me. That doesn't really matter, and it probably won't matter to anyone else who's playing the game. There's also a depth of field view, which if you get close to any particular object, the background will blare out, and that just also adds to the graphical detail as well.
Yeah, it can become quite confusing sometimes in death matches, for example, but it's something that you get used to quite quickly. The same as like the head bob feature with the first person mode, which is something I've personally turned off because it gave me motion sickness. But there's a lot of extra features like the first person roll to cover, rolling while aiming. You can do that in first person now, in the first person ragdoll. Again, when you first run across the road in first person and get knocked over, it's very disorientating, but it's also absolutely incredible.
Yeah, flying through windshields.
Yeah, I've done that too many times.
Yeah, that is more surprising than anything. You'll just be flying down the road, in even in third person. If you've got first person on foot mode, if I'm going down the road in third person in the car, the camera just shoots right into first person, and you're flying and doing a backflip, and then you get so much hang time. It's amazing. So I've come to this just remote location here off the map, just so we can show you the explosions, the particle effects, the gun muzzle effects when you shoot in first person, obviously.
Yeah, also the good thing with this island is you can actually see the detail of the grass and bushes as well.
Yep.
In first person look a lot better. So like you say, the particle effects, again, that's something that's been added. When you shoot the ground, you get the kick up of dust.
Yep.
And the flame come out the muzzle of the gun. Yeah, near it.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Obviously, near the end of the game, we will show you some proper explosions, but everything seems louder and more, boom in your face, like an explosion would do. You mentioned the other day, if you get shot in first person with a shotgun, it feels sort of, well, we wouldn't know, but like getting really shot, there's the sound in your ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's scary the first time you get it because it's a loud, where you get the proper sound of the shotgun going off in your ears if you're wearing a headset. Happens with all the guns, they've got their own sounds, but the shotgun especially is extremely loud and disorientating, but it's incredible as well how I've added stuff like that, like now, for example, our plane's floating away from us, but it's all these little features that they've added. But when you're in first person, the sound's a lot louder, a lot clearer, as if you are in the game.
I did mention it briefly. Obviously, they've taken some objects in the game, quite a few objects in the game, and totally remodeled them. In some cases, actually replaced things, which again, that takes time for game company to take a game and go into it, and not just sort of add an overlay of pretty visuals and hasty textures, but to take actual objects and reskin them. It's a bold move. I think anything can go wrong there. It could add time onto getting the game out, but they managed to do it. I'm on the wrong side, unfortunately. Obviously, we're broadcasting the video live at the minute on Twitch, and this will be available on YouTube. You'll be watching it now on YouTube, but will be available on YouTube once we've completed it. So it is kind of live, so anything can happen. We're going into night time now, so we should hopefully get the moon. There we go. It's on this side now. It's a full moon, but you can see the hazy sort of clouds over there. So we're not getting the full lighting of the moon hitting the water, unfortunately. But we might see that near the end of the video.
You can definitely see the detail they're putting with even clouds and the way they go across the moon and cast different shadows and different light textures, and that is it's gorgeous. It really is. Here we can see the light down here now.
Ah, yeah.
But you can see the ripples of the waves create different shadows rather than just being one solid straight beam, for example. It's we've got the details there of the waves and of the wind blowing on the water causing the ripples and everything. The lights, the way it moves across the map as well is realistic. Obviously the time's a lot faster, but it's really nice that they've managed to do that rather than just having the moon in one place and then suddenly jumping across. It actually, if you stay still, it moves with you.
Yep,
across
definitely.
the map really nicely. So
the now we're looking at it of the highway on the right here. Is a great time to mention the denser traffic and also the denser pedestrian count as well. Obviously, unfortunately, online doesn't really get the pedestrian count, but the single player you'll see a lot more pedestrians. They'll be gathering outside clubs at night. Just more, you'll see more hitchhikers, more people in the woods go and take hikes. But the denser traffic, as you can see now, if the highway, it's a line of cars there. Obviously it will again be greatly improved in single player, but if you sweep down a little, every car is there on the road. On PS3 they did used to just disappear out of sight, never come back again, but they are actually there. We're heading back towards the city, and you can see obviously the lighting of everything. You can see it all the way up into the airport, and there's the bridge there and the skyscrapers.
Yeah, that looks incredible actually. Especially now you've got the stars coming through and the pardon me, the shadows on the clouds, but the city looks absolutely spectacular at night time with the different colours of neon lights, and especially from up in the air it does look amazing. You've got the moon to our left hand side now. That's it's just generating amazing lighting. And if you're in first person, it's just incredible when you look out the windows of these planes.
I think playing the game also with the new controllers, unfortunately we don't know what it feels like to play with the Xbox One controller. I have got an Xbox One controller in front of me. It's a bit heftier. I believe the pulse triggers at the back of the Xbox One will vibrate, as they do for all the other Xbox One games. So that would be quite cool, because I know that they really work well. But where it really shines is the DualShock 4 remote. What are your favourite features on that?
I love the ability to change your radio station and your weapon with going up or left and right. If you swipe up and that, it changes your radio station, or up or down, change your radio station for you, and left and right changes your weapon, which I think is a really nice feature. You don't need to use it. You can still use the old way of holding down left on the D-pad to select your radio station and pressing the square to change your weapon, but it's a nice feature that they've added, especially with the pressing onto the touchpad to change from first to third. I think that's pretty good. What do you think is good about it, mate?
Yeah, if you get a wanted level, the police radio chatter and your phone calls will come through the little DualShock speaker, which is great. It's when you first hear it happening, it just takes you off guard. You know it's there, you know the feature, but you'll get your first call through and you're like, oh, it's not coming off the TV, and it's great because it makes sure that everything happening in the world is going through your TV speakers, and you know, just the the phone chat is going through a separate speaker, so it is kind of like a little miniature sort of surround sound. And also, again, once at level, you will get a flashing red and blue light bar at the back of the control. This feature is apparently in the crew, which I've yet to see. I've played the crew, but I didn't see it in there. But obviously it's first on GTA, that's all that matters. But yeah, they're really great features. Obviously, the little ones to add. You know, they're not really gimmicky, but at the same time, you know, they wouldn't have been missed, but they're great to have. But we've yet to mention the added animal count, which again, unfortunately, GTA Online doesn't have yet. I say yet because everyone hopes that animals will appear online soon enough. And if you are out in Blaine County, you do hear, you know, dogs barking, and you will hear this odd animal effect, but they won't appear, which, you know, could be a nod to maybe them wanting to do it. But yeah, the animal count, I think it's around, is it 20 animals now? I only say that because there's a 27, sorry, because of the peyote plants, if you've not heard of them. It's another thing that they've put in. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, I think there's 20 separate animals.
Yeah.
Which there's a mission with Franklin that you do to unlock wildlife photography, and that will give you the opportunity then to go around and photograph the new animals. You know, you've got different dogs. I'm not going to put too many spoilers in, but you've got cows and pigs from the farm. And there's also, obviously, you've seen the whales and the sharks in the water, but the peyote plants there's 27 little plants dotted around the whole map. Rockstar said nothing about these. People have stumbled upon them and found them. And when you find them, which, you know, you can go on YouTube to find the locations now, but when you take the plant, you ingest the plant, and then you actually turn it into one of the animals, so you could turn into a crow or a coyote, and then you end up being that animal, and you can play as that animal until you die, so you can gain wanted level as a crow, flying around pooing on people, and just different stuff like that. Just go as a dog and attack people, and that, again, it's good fun. It's something they've added that nobody knew about, and it's just a nice feature that was a good surprise. So there's no doubt there's plenty of other little Easter eggs out there that people have yet to find.
Yeah, it was a weird one. I mean, I didn't find the plants. I don't know how anyone found those plants because they are tiny. So yeah, I've played as I think it was a seagull. It's just a weird to see, really. It's something that you do sort of expect from Rockstar because of the way they are with the games. It's just really fun to have. As you say, you'll find cows and pigs in the farm, so it just adds to the detail. You know, you'll go to a farm and they are the animals that's supposed to be there, and obviously the underwater area is being remodeled as well, so you'll find you know, big whales, hammerhead sharks, you'll get stingrays. It's, you know, it just adds. I think the overall feeling of the game is more realistic because of all these little bits. The vegetation we've already gone through, you'll see, as we were on that little island before, you'll see the different plants, they all sort of sway in the wind. The game itself runs in 1080p at 30 frames per second. Now, you know, people expect 60 frames for these new consoles, but, you know, to me, it wouldn't really make it. It is nice to see a 60 FPS game, but it doesn't really matter to me. You won't notice it on this game. It still runs flawlessly. Shall we land towards Blaine County and show you some of the damage effects that they've added? Because that's another thing that they've added, that more damage effects, particle effects. You know, if you make something explode, you will get a bigger explosion and more of a.
Should we suicide it? I'm not trying to smell that, but there you go. Oh. I'll blow up my dodo. Yeah, we can show you that one. Yeah, right.
So there's the sticky bomb, which obviously you'll still see the light blinking there from a distance. You know, that's another great thing. I'd like to see, the light's still blinking, you can see it. So yeah, you can make it go boom. And there you go, the particle effects, the burning embers, the smoke, they're still happening. And obviously the water now, it's, because it's dynamic, it's taking the seaplane back, and now it's, it's tipping up, and now it's sinking.
Yeah, now I've got a wanted level. My map, the mini map as well, goes red and blue flashes, which is quite a cool feature, like Bryan mentioned with the controller. And the light bar also changes colour depending on which single player character you are. So you've got Franklin is, I think, green, Michael blue, and Trevor's orange. So again, that's quite a nice little feature they've added.
Yeah, let's talk just that you mentioned Franklin's photography missions. No spoilers there. You do get a reward at the end of that. There's also a murder mystery for Michael. Again, there's a reward at the end of that. No spoilers. People who know GTA 5, you'll probably know what you get. I'd say definitely play that, and definitely try and work it out yourself without going onto the internet, because it's quite interesting. And you do get to go inside an interior which you'll never get to go in the game at all, out of mission. So I definitely try and do that without spoiling it for yourselves. Yeah, go on.
Trevor's got the stock car racing as well, which is something that I tend to forget about, which I think possibly 3 separate races, and each one, again, there's a prize for winning that. I'm not going to say what it is, but most people will know what it is anyway.
Yes, I mean, basically the game itself, if you're wondering, yeah, it is worth the full price of a game. There was questions whether Rockstar would add a discount to returning players. Would they ask the full amount? And they did. I mean, there's no problem with that. It is worth the £60, £50, $60, $70, $40, £50 that you'll pay for it, because it's the same game, but it does feel like a new chapter in GTA. GTA 3 had 3D, GTA 4 was HD, GTA 5 started with 3 characters, and now they've added first-person mode. What would you say to anyone thinking about buying it, as who've already got it for, say, the 360 or PS3?
If you've got the current gen consoles, the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, definitely get it. If you like Grand Theft Auto, but you're worried that the first person is going to ruin the game, it doesn't. You've got the ability to play it in first person if you want, which makes the game feel brand new. But you can still play it in third person and still appreciate the graphical improvements, the improved draw distances, and everything like that. So I'd definitely say it's worth the investment, because online, for me especially, is awesome. And obviously, once they get the servers completely stable, obviously heists we're hoping are going to be out soon. That's going to add to it, and I think they're going to keep adding to online, and just it's going to become an investment rather than just a one-off thing you're going to play for a few months like most games are.
Definitely, I think in the end, if they want to expand the world, they can do. You can go off to Liberty City, other cities. Also, as well, something that we picked up on a few days ago, the wealth of options in first-person mode and the settings may be an indicator of Sony possibly bringing Project Morpheus into the mix. But we will be making a discussion video on that earlier next year, which is obviously next month. I would feel this game would benefit totally from VR, virtual reality. But yeah, I'd say that was it for us, and we're going to end on a bang. So I'd like to say thank you for watching, and please remember to check out Grand Theft articles over at consolenetwork.com/GTA, and follow us on Twitter at Console Network. If you liked the video, do subscribe and hit the like button underneath.
And you can also follow GTA v PS4 fan over on Twitter, or follow my personal account, which is at GaryWI11S, and we'll be back in the new year with more videos.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Bye bye.